Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. In a few moments, you'll get to hear my thoughts and feelings on Season 3, Episode 2 of Put a Ring on It. I can honestly say after watching the first episode, I found the direction of the series to be very intriguing. So for the purposes of this review, I'm going to briefly go over what happened during the episode, followed by my thoughts on the characters, and finally I'm going to give an honest rating for the episode. So without any further delay, let's jump right in. The episode kicks off with Shay returning back to the group after regaining her composure. When she is asked if she will be giving Brian a second date, she lets Dr. Nicole know that she will not be going on a second date with him. And to me, that wasn't really a big surprise, because in my last review, I didn't see much chemistry between the two of them, and when the chemistry finally showed, it wasn't enough for Shay to leave Alfonso for him. Then we get to Charlena talking about her date with the soccer man Meta, as well as Otis's reaction to Charlena receiving flowers. And while I acknowledge that Otis may have some issues with jealousy, it seems like this part of the episode was focused on painting Otis to be the bad guy. First of all, Charlena feels some sort of way about Otis telling her that she should have known better than to accept flowers from another man. And I understand where Otis is coming from, because he and Charlena had clear boundaries when it came to going on these dates. And I think Charlena will feel some type of way if Otis took a keepsake from his date and brought it home. But then Charlena, or Sholana, tells Dr. Nicole that she feels some sort of way about Otis asking her to take a shower after she played soccer with Meta. And when Otis gives his explanation as to why he asked her to take a shower, to me it made sense. She was working out, appeared to be sweaty, and those underarms as well as that booty may have been humming a little bit. So some soap and water might be just what the doctor ordered for that funk box. But when Dr. Nicole asked Charlana if she wanted to go on a second date with Meta, she said no, and that was in line with my prediction because I really didn't see any romantic vibes between the two of them. Lastly, we have Shorty, who talks about her experience with Hollywood. She points out that Hollywood made her realize that she's trying to force Kenny to be somebody that he's not. When Shorty is given the opportunity to go out on a second date with Hollywood, she chooses to go on that second date, which is in line with what I predicted, because they had great chemistry and Hollywood seemed to be a changed person. But of course, at some point during the season, she's going to decline another date with Hollywood and he'll be going on a date with somebody else. Dr. Laura then informs the couples that this week the men have the opportunity to go out on dates. As Shorty and Kenny are making their way back home, they get into an argument because Shorty found out that Kenny went through her phone and sent her banking information to his phone. Can you say red flag, anybody? The $1 million question that I would have is that is any of this legal? Now, I'm not the next Dr. Phil or anybody like him, but in the back of my mind, I'm wondering why Shorty is still with Kenny at this point. Why are they even in a space where they can argue about the matter? Why didn't Shorty contact her bank and inform them about what happened? I ask these rhetorical questions because the way that the scene was edited, it seems like Shorty is either a complete fool or that the show is embellishing what really happened and it's not as serious as it seems. Nevertheless, when the two of them finally calm down, Shorty shares her concerns that Kenny may use her information against her if he feels like he might lose her. She then shares a story about how Kenny went on her job's social media page and spammed comments about her, and that's definitely a no-go in my opinion. Kenny responds by giving her the best acting performance and trying to assure her that he's going to change. In the back of my mind, none of this looks or feels good, but the show must go on. Otis is the first to go on his date and he meets up with Cherie. Cherie comes to the home, and my first impression is that Cherie is very attractive, she's thicker than cold Rotel dip, and her personality seems pretty down to earth. Otis and Cherie go on a cake frosting date, which seems very unique and fun. One thing that I noticed about this date was that Cherie directly expressed that she's looking for a man who can lead, who knows what he wants, and it aligns with the things that she's looking for. I think that they're both physically attracted to one another, and I think Otis would definitely go on a second date with her because she's a good fit in his life. Alfonso then prepares to go on his date with a woman named Chantelle. Upon first impression, Chantelle seems very feminine, flirty. She's definitely blessed in the chest, but she's a New Yorker, and you gotta keep your eyes on those New Yorkers. But when Chantelle comes to the home, Shay morphs into a character that's extremely jealous, possessive, and crazy. My thing is, if you're really that jealous of the thought of Alfonso going on a date with somebody else, why stick with him? I know, that makes too much sense. Alfonso and Chantelle have their date at a restaurant, but when they talk with one another, they're spending more time flirting with one another than they are talking about anything of substance. I think Alfonso is physically attracted to Chantelle, but I don't think Alfonso will leave Shay for her. He may go out on another date with her, but definitely not a third date. And finally, we have Kenny getting prepared to go on his date with Shamaya. During the preparation, Shorty seems a little jealous of the date, but in my opinion, Shorty is just putting on an act for the cameras. But Kenny and Shamaya go out on their date, and they do glass blowing, which is very strange. But when they finish their activity, they have a chance to sit down, and Shamaya is trying to talk to Kenny, but Kenny is acting very shy. He eventually opens up with Shamaya, but it's pretty apparent that Kenny was not physically attracted to Shamaya. I'm 100% certain that Kenny will not be going on a second date with her. If he does, it'll solely be to make Shorty jealous. But overall, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give this episode a 5. It wasn't great, it wasn't terrible, but it was just good enough to keep my attention from start to finish. I'm definitely looking forward to see how the upcoming drama plays out throughout the remaining episodes. But this marks the end of my review. If you have any questions or comments about the review or the episode, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to reply to each and every comment. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.